Okay, let's jump right in. We all know that feeling, right? That gap between the goals we have and, well, where we are right now. In this explainer, we're going to break down the one thing that separates those who achieve from those who just dream. And spoiler alert, it's not some secret talent or a lucky break. It's a superpower that every single one of us already has. So, let's start with the big question, the one we've all probably wondered about. Why is it that some people just seem to crush their goals while so many others get stuck? You've seen it. Two people can start in the exact same place with the same ambition, but one skyrockets and the other just kind of stalls out. So, what's really going on there? What's the secret sauce? Well, here it is. The secret isn't a secret at all. It's not about being the most talented person in the room or catching a lucky break. It's just consistency. It's that unglamorous, often ignored decision to just show up and do the work, day in and day out. That's the engine that drives all real, lasting change. And today, we're going to dig into the why, the what, and the how so you can make it work for you. But look, before we get into the practical how-to stuff, we have to talk about why being consistent is so darn hard in the first place. And the whole answer really boils down to our relationship with one thing: comfort. I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Growth and comfort, they just can't live in the same house. They are fundamentally at odds. So the very first step, before anything else, is to just accept this one truth. Real progress begins the second you decide you're willing to be uncomfortable. And this really lays it bare. You've got your comfort zone on one side. Yeah, it feels safe, it feels known, but nothing grows there. It's the land of stagnation, which is really just failure in slow motion. And then you have the growth zone. Sure, it feels a little scary, a little uncertain, but it's the only place where success lives. It's where progress actually happens. Which brings us to this little piece of wisdom. Just think for a second about that one thing you know you should be doing, but you keep putting it off. That thing that feels kind of hard? Well, that's it. That's where the magic is hiding. This is the perfect way to shift from why it's hard to what actually happens when you do that hard work. Okay, so let's get into the what, because being consistent isn't some mystical concept. It's straight up biology. We're talking about physically changing the structure of your brain. So think about it like this. Imagine trying to walk through a super dense forest for the first time. It's tough, right? You're pushing branches out of the way, you're forging a new path. But what happens if you walk that exact same path every single day? Well, pretty soon, it becomes a clear, easy-to-follow trail. Your brain works the exact same way. It's called neuroplasticity. Every time you repeat an action, you're paving that neural pathway, making a difficult task easier and more automatic over time. And the results of paving that path every day are, well, they're kind of mind-blowing. Check this out. You have person A, who practices for just 10 minutes a day. And then you have person B, who crams in a big 2-hour session, but only once a month. Now you think the cram session is more effective, right? But no way. Look at the numbers over a year. The person doing just 10 minutes a day puts in more than double the time. It's proof that small, daily efforts absolutely crush big, infrequent ones. And this leads us to a really powerful idea. It's called the compound effect. And the idea is super simple. Big successes don't come from one giant heroic effort. They come from thousands of tiny, seemingly insignificant choices that you make every single day. They build on each other, they gain momentum, and they eventually snowball into something massive. Okay, so we get it. We know why it's uncomfortable but important, and we know the science behind it. Now for the good stuff, the part you can actually use. Here's a super simple 3-step formula to build that consistency into your own life. So how do we actually do this? It's not complicated, I promise. It really just comes down to these 3 things. 1, you've got to start absurdly small. 2, you need a way to stay accountable. And 3, you have to turn it into a real habit. Let's break them down. Step 1 is all about starting small, like ridiculously small. This famous quote nails it. The goal is to make the task so easy, it's almost impossible to say no. You want to run a marathon? Great. Start by just putting on your running shoes and walking to the end of the driveway. Want to write a book? Start with 1 sentence a day. It's all about getting that first tiny win to build some momentum. Okay, step 2, accountability. You need to see that you're making progress, otherwise it's way too easy to just give up. And there are tons of ways to do this. You could track your progress in a journal. You could find a friend, an accountability partner, and check in with each other. Or hey, use an app and build one of those streaks you get obsessed with not breaking. Whatever it is, you need a system to remind you that your small efforts are adding up. And finally, step 3, and this is maybe the most powerful trick, you have to make it a habit. And the easiest way to do that is to piggyback your new goal onto a routine you already have. You already brush your teeth every morning, right? So maybe you meditate for 2 minutes right after you brush your teeth. You already make coffee, so maybe you do your 5 minutes of language practice while it's brewing. You link the new habit to an old one, and eventually it becomes just as automatic. All right, let's bring it home with our last section. We've talked about the why, the what, and the how. But there's one more piece to this puzzle, an unexpected consequence of true dedication. And it's that sometimes the path to achieving something great can be a pretty lonely one. This quote, man, it just hits hard because it's true. When you become laser-focused on a mission, when you're truly committed, you start to operate on a different wavelength than most people. Your priorities shift. The things that drive you are different, and that can naturally create some distance. But here's the key. You have to learn how to see that feeling differently. When you start to feel like you don't quite fit in with the crowd anymore, don't let that discourage you. See it for what it is, a sign. It's a flashing billboard telling you that you're on the right path. It means you're leaving average in the rearview mirror. And that's the bottom line. This path isn't for everybody, and that's okay. To be exceptional literally means to be an exception to the rule. It takes a kind of focus that most people just aren't willing to give. And being willing to walk that path, even if you're walking it alone, is part of the price you pay for greatness. So after all of that, the discomfort, the brain science, the lonely road, it all comes back to this one beautiful, simple idea. Forget about trying to make some huge overnight transformation. Just focus on this number. Just try to get 1% better every single day. That's it. That's the entire game. So I'll leave you with this one final challenge. At the end of every day, before you turn out the lights, just look yourself in the mirror and ask one question. Did I get better today? If you can answer yes to that, day after day, just imagine where that leads. Think about it.